Hello, Muscle Nation. As always, here's a quick frame of reference for our viewers. To remind you, I'm 5'10", and as of this morning, I weigh 210 pounds. I estimate my body fat percentage to be somewhere around 8 to 10%. For those of you who haven't viewed the videos in the past, I'm doing this because most videos that you see from fitness professionals don't give you a frame of reference. They don't let you know, how tall, how much they weigh, and as a result, doesn't give you a good understanding of what realistic perceptions should be. So more importantly, I'm ecstatic to welcome to Muscle Nation a friend of mine who lives and breathes fitness into his personal and professional life, Eric Yaverbaum. Eric is the CEO of Ericho Communications, headquartered in New York City. He has had 35 years experience in communications, media, public relations, and has worked with clients including Sony, IKEA, Progressive Insurance, Domino's Pizza, Beachbody, H&M, and Jack LaLanne. Eric has literally written the books on public relations, ranging from industry standard bestsellers like PR for Dummies, as well as 6 others, including Leadership Secrets for the World's Most Successful CEOs, which has sold over 1 million copies. So today we're going to hear from Eric on how he brings goals, planning, commitment, and accountability with him to the gym, as well as the office. Eric, thanks for being a part of Muscle Nation.
Thank you so much for having me. That was the best introduction I ever got. My mother has to watch this.
Absolutely, send her the link. The moment she goes to the YouTube channel or the website, she's part of us.
All right, amen.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive into it. Give us a little bit of background. When did you start working out?
I've been I was an athlete as a kid. I played basketball. I would say I boxed in my younger years, after college, but I would say more accurately, I got my ass kicked. I spent a lot more time on the mat getting up, which was, one of my claims to fame. I would not stay down, much like all of my life. Then I spent boxing. And then I was a runner for a very long time. And then, 40s, life hit me, like it will everybody. I had some difficult life scenarios, like we all do. And I probably stopped working out and daily exercise for 5 or 6 years, and I put on a lot of weight when I went to the doctor. And the doctor said, Eric, we got to put you on cholesterol medication. You're heavy. We got concerns. You got 2 choices. You go on the medication or you exercise. I said, exercise.
Absolutely.
And that was 1,540 days ago, and I haven't missed a day since.
That's incredible. So clearly your goals have changed. I mean, for most of us, when we start working out younger, it's more vanity than it is health.
No vanity. I'm not getting by on my looks or body. I'd love to have your body, buddy.
I appreciate it. It takes a lot of work. And as we were chatting about before we started recording, I was a lanky, skinny teenager who just wanted to have some muscle and did everything I could. It took a long time.
I know.
And that's an important thing to keep in mind for anybody who's out there watching. This is not the kind of thing that happens overnight. You look at professional athletes and particularly if you look at professional bodybuilders, they will oftentimes train for 10, 15, 20 years before they hit their peak. It's got to be a lifestyle. It's not the kind of thing where you're like, this summer I'm gonna get an amazing beach body. No offense to those people who think that you can. More power to you. Just keep it going through the rest of the year.
For the brand, it's a great brand.
It is a great brand. Absolutely. Anything that gets you up out of your seat and in the gym, exercising, outside walking and running, it's terrific.
Yeah.
So, getting back to your goals since that famed doctor's appointment have shifted. What are they now?
Look, it started for me. My doctor said to me, in that appointment, take a walk every day. I said, boy, you don't get who I am. And it was at that time that my agency was starting to do some work with Beachbody.
Mm-hmm.
And Leandro, most famous for the Brazilian butt lift, which were exercises I did not do, became my personal trainer. And I made a goal that I would work out for 10,000 days, which takes me into my 80s. And in part inspired by, I represented Jack LaLanne the last 7 years of his life. The man, I mean, an icon of fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I've been professionally involved in it ever since. And when I went into Leander, same thing. He was a trainer, celebrity trainer. As everybody before me is beautiful, after me is beautiful. Everybody, Victoria's Secret cover models, and me. Who needed to lose, a solid 42 pounds, which is what I did. And he said, I said, so how's this work? I never had a trainer before. And he said, well, I have to understand you first, your habits, what's realistic for you. And I said, oh boy, just like my doctor, you don't get me. You tell me what I need to do. I will do it every damn day for the next 10,000 days. And I have not, although I know everybody says take rest days, and it's obviously and absolutely a good idea. And I'm not a fitness trainer at all. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I feel better. Endorphins are the best drugs you will ever get.
Yep.
But if not for my, my brush, I don't know how many days it was with COVID. Yeah. I would have run the table straight on 10,000 days. And I mix it up every day, but my goal was 10,000 days. More importantly, in the short term, was feel better. It doesn't feel good to be carrying around all that extra weight. It doesn't feel good not to exercise. It doesn't feel good not to eat right. When you do, man, bam! You want a life hack? Work out and eat right, and you will not believe how great. The Red Seas will part.
Yeah, you brought up a few really interesting points. One happens to be the concept of having days off to recover, but at the same time, when you make it part of your life, it's very difficult. And there are a lot of days where I know, I'm sore all over. I'm mid 40s. I can't do this 7 days a week. But then I don't know what to do with myself. So oftentimes I'll find myself heading to the gym, even if it's just to go there. I'll bring food with me. I'll sit, I'll eat, I'll hang out, I'll chat with some people, and just to be able to still have that kind of that activity of going to the gym. The mere Pavlovian stimulation of going to the gym makes me feel better.
Yeah, for me, and I don't like to pontificate like I know what I'm talking about. What I do know is about myself. Mm-hmm. I do know about the metaphorical parallels between setting goals in physical fitness and setting them in my professional and my personal life. They mimic each other.
Sure.
I've learned that from many, many successful people. I make a plan. I make a goal. I always methodically get there wherever I want to go. You want to get somewhere. Intentionality. That's a superpower. Yeah. And I'm able to do that. It's not just in physical fitness. It's in all the rest of my life. Look, my thing for exercise is, I don't drink coffee. I'm way too caffeinated already. But one of the reasons I'm way too caffeinated already, I'm 59 years old. I have boundless energy. I feel amazing. Is my coffee, or I guess my parallel of what many people would consider their caffeine in the morning is my workout.
Sure.
I get up in the morning and, I get my heart pumping and I sweat and I feel amazing all day long. And, I'm in the client service business. I'm on a PR agency, as you know. My clients get the benefit of maximum attention to them all day long. It doesn't matter whether you got a 9 o'clock with me or you got a 6 o'clock with me. It doesn't matter whether it's a breakfast meeting or whether it's a, evening, event. Won't make a difference. Same me, and that's from exercise, and that's endorphins, and they last all day long.
So now, obviously, you bring up coffee. I'm sitting in my kitchen. Anyone who,
kitchen, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. anyone who is truly into fitness, especially like I was saying into bodybuilding, they'll tell you 30% gym, 70% kitchen.
Yeah.
I work from my kitchen. I quite literally sit in my kitchen. I compose, I edit, I work with clients from my kitchen. And it's really easy for me to be able to be here. I do meal prep and I keep, meals ready to go, even though I'm right here. How do you handle nutrition? How do you handle your meals during the day? Because it is a large component.
You know what? I eat, I'm light and lean, and it's not a diet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been a couple times in my life when I was younger, the entire front offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys put together a collage, all of them holding a sign, "Lose that belly." That was in the 80s for me. I don't feel good. I know what makes my body feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I eat, accordingly. I don't feel good when I overeat. I'm not like I can't have a big dinner. I always have breakfast. I usually have light, dinners. I don't have any restrictions whatsoever. I'm not, I don't have to restrain myself at all. I can eat what I want to eat as long as I'm exercising. But I'm not, I don't eat a lot. I'm not a, meat and potatoes guy, even though, I mean, I'll have a good steak. But, I'm not a vegetarian or anything like that. What you put in your body, you can do all you want in the gym. You put the wrong stuff in your body. I mean, Jack LaLanne used to preach this to me. He used to always tell me about his Corvette. He said, "You think I'm going to put, cheap fuel in my Corvette? What about your body? If you won't put it in your car, what about your body?" So, I put good stuff in my body, and my body feels better as a result. I put bad stuff in my body, I don't feel so good. I think that's probably the case for everybody. So I don't have any delusions of grandeur or expertise in nutrition either, although I'm surrounded by it. I put good fuel in my body that makes me feel good and gets me through my day too.
So, speaking of your day, it was actually the next topic I wanted to discuss. There are, most people are not living the type of lifestyle that I'm living, where just because of work, I'm able to run to the gym, at 9 o'clock rather than at, let's say, 5 a.m. What time do you go to the gym?
I'm in the gym at 5 a.m.
Okay.
Look, I've been an early riser my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not always, but I'm usually first one in. And look, hey, right now with what's going on in the world, first one in ain't a bad thing to be because I'm solo in there first.
Yeah.
I get up and I get down to the gym. And look, I live a different sort of life than, I'm in an urban area. You're doing an interview with me. I'm 34 stories high in the sky. And I take the elevator down to the second floor. I got a great gym. And, that does make it a little bit easier. Well, the thing about your working out or your exercise time is, I always encourage people, do the hard part. Start. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Throw in consistency, which will be a very good idea for the long term, not for the week or the 6 weeks or the 21 day, whatever. But it's the consistency of it, which includes the time. I have a really packed schedule. I would say it's even more packed now than it was in pre-pandemic days. I'm doing a lot of this, Zooming all day long, zooming my brains out. So yeah, I get down there, early in the morning consistently. And I'm ready to, my calls start at 7:45, like clockwork every day. And, I'm a little bit of a creature of habit. I don't know if that's good or bad, but, my habits have served me well in life, and I've had them my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah. I was chatting with a buddy of mine at the gym yesterday, and he was asking about, when I had started out really, truly, post-college, and, we were talking about the fact that there were There's a time frame during college where I started playing rugby, kind of gaining weight, was spending a lot of time in the gym and out in the, on the rugby pitch running. But it really wasn't a true story until I started working in advertising in New York City. And I was living at home in Westchester County. And I remember when I joined my first gym in New York, and it wasn't for fitness. It was so I could take a shower. It was because at night, when I would leave, which it would typically average around 10:30, 11 at night, it was hit or miss whether I'd be able to take the subway to the shuttle to Grand Central to be able to make the last train home. And there were several occasions where I missed it, couldn't get back into the building, and essentially was just hanging out in whatever restaurant or bar was open throughout the night.
Yeah.
So I knew if I didn't leave the office by a certain time, I should just stay there. I'd sleep on the conference room table, and I kept an extra suit and joined a gym around the corner. I got up before everybody else was even close to being in the office, and I go around and I work out there. And then
I would say my hours, I live in New York City, but I could have been a farmer. I have farmer's hours.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Being in the suburbs, things aren't, there's a lot of differences. When you do go early, you still find that group of people who's there waiting for the doors to open. I think that the biggest difference are weekends. The weekend hours of the gyms, at least around where I am now, you're hard pressed to find a gym that's open before 8 a.m. on the weekends.
Yeah, well, in the city that never sleeps, we got them 24/7. But
yeah,
all I got to do is take the elevator down 32 floors, and I'm set.
Yeah, that's nice, especially during the winter.
Very, very, very.
Yeah. So let's get serious for a minute and talk a little bit about your experiences with COVID-19. There was a report out this morning in the New York Times that there was a study completed in Oslo where they actually did a control exposed test, to see whether people who were working out at gyms without using a face mask, with limited social distancing, were more prone to being diagnosed positive with COVID-19. And the results were not, surprisingly, that the incidence rate was actually really low. And, and for viewers, I want to make sure that they understand, I am not endorsing going out and being unsafe. I do believe that face masks are important. And I do believe that social distancing, and in areas right now where we're seeing a resurgence, an uptick, it's better off just stay home, just stay in. That said, you were going to the gym, I'm imagining, up until your diagnosis. What led up to it?
I actually, what happened to me was one morning I decided to go out for a run, because sometimes I do that. I was an avid runner at one phase of my life. I went out for a run. I can run forever. I've always been that way. I got about a mile and bam, that was it. Everything all at once for me. I couldn't breathe. I had the cough. I had a fever. I had aches. Couldn't smell anything. I couldn't taste anything. I didn't know that at the time. I mean, I had every one of the not every, but many of the classic symptoms like that. I was in the emergency room less than an hour later, and at the time, the emergency room, this was, nobody knew. Actually, we still don't know. We got one big question mark of it tomorrow in our lives now. But I went in through the tent. They didn't, because they had so many people coming in. Didn't go in the emergency room. The tent was bizarre. It was surreal. It was like looking around at a war. What all the people you were looking at. I was grateful that I could walk in. That's when I got tested. At that time, you didn't have the instant result sort of thing, or the 24-hour, 48-hour results. Because I could breathe, they said go home. And test results came back a few days later. At the time, I was working or helping to work with Governor Cuomo's task force, so I had, a little bit of help getting some, quicker results. It came back positive. I ended up from that moment into my bed for 29 straight days. For 29 days, the only exercise I got was walking from my bed to the bathroom, and that was a big deal. I had a really, really hard, difficult time. I had read and heard it's supposed to be 2 weeks, and I'm 29 days in bed. And it wasn't only the 29 days in bed. It was, another, I was on oxygen until about a month ago. It was the quote unquote long tail of COVID. It's a long ride. And if you don't manage your own expectations, you might be disappointed. I sure was.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds intense.
Something. If you want to figure out your life, figure out what your worst day was. That day was probably your best. That's the day that changed you. That day changed me. Yeah. And I'm actually, I had 5 nights where breathing was, a question mark. 5 nights, it was always at night for me. 5 nights where I'm gasping for air. You're taking that breath and you're saying, is this the last one I'm going to be able to get? You get that perspective in life, trust me, everything else is just details when you come through that. 5 nights in a row. For me, people say, how you doing? I said, I'm breathing. What else do you need to know? I mean, and I'm serious. That's how, mentally, that's how great I feel about everything above and beyond breathing, which I used to take for granted.
Yeah. Reset your priorities or
yeah, absolutely. Gives you a whole different perspective. And that's why bad days are usually good days. New perspective.
Yeah. When I was in the ICU with Lyme's disease, actually right before they moved me into the ICU, when I was first admitted to NYU Langone, I was immediately quarantined. This is a while ago. This is going on 7 years ago. And, and they tested, they did a spinal tap. They drew spinal fluid. They found out that I had meningitis. I remember I was down at the end of the hall. The rest of the hall, it seems like the rest of the floor was empty. I was the only one there. And I remember the doctor coming in and, and telling me that they were moving me to the ICU because things were getting worse. And they weren't sure what to do. And he said, this might be a good time to contact some loved ones. And I was like, it sounds like you're telling me I'm going to die. And he kind of just nodded his head and said, well, things aren't going well. And I was incredulous. It was just like, I remember I said back to him, I said something along the lines of, I don't feel like I'm going to die. This isn't how I imagined it would end up happening. This doesn't feel right. Like it, I know things are bad and I did not feel good, but it certainly wasn't like this idea that I had in my mind of, being like a frail old man and slowly life slipping away. It was steamrolling out of control, and my perception of it hadn't, I guess, caught up with my vitals. And I think that then Cynthia. Well, so I wrote an email, kind of a somewhat cryptic email to my parents, saying, "Hey, things aren't going too well. Maybe you should come up. Give Cynthia a hand." And I think they were probably on the next flight to New York. And I remember Cynthia coming in, and she was, wearing all the protective gear and everything else. And that was the moment for me. That was when I realized, things are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Here I am.
But that point of reference, everybody always worries about, what's going to be gone tomorrow. We're constantly in this state of regretting stuff from yesterday, which I have zero regrets in my life. Everything I ever did wrong was a learning lesson, and fear of tomorrow. Instead of doing what we should be doing and living in the moment. Me and you get this moment once. It's it. This particular minute, this is the greatest minute I ever had this minute. Why would I miss it? But, look, we all got, I think you'd say all of us got dealt a surprising, deck of cards, surprising hand. What I say about that, that's life. I'm going to play the hell out of that hand, man. Why wouldn't I?
Right. So what's going on now? What are the things you're working on? What excites you?
I'm loving work as opposed to before when I was loving work. Yeah. It's different, everything changed just like that. Everything changed. This to me is another superpower. One I got. Anybody has it if you choose to. How do you react? That's where all the magic is, because life's all about plan B. Anybody who thinks plan A is going to happen, good luck. I'd have plan B too. How do you react? How you react defines your entire life. I'm 59 years old. I'm running a virtual company. I had two big, bad, beautiful offices on the East Coast, on the West Coast. I haven't been set foot in either of them in 120 days. How great, how thrilling, how exciting is this challenging time? My particular, we're thriving. There's a bunch of, let's say it's not luck either. I mean, luck factors in a little bit, but we've had some good fortune. I've been around for a very long time. My own press exposure, 40 years of being in the news, draws clients to you. 40 years of real experience draws attention to you. In a previous life, what I was best known for was crisis. PR crisis counseling. I dealt with some really grand slam crises. Hopefully you never heard of them, and then I did my job. But the thing is that, and this is crisis, and we are in very critical times. You will learn about people now. You can't fake yourself in a crisis. When you're sitting in the middle of a fire, you don't fake it. You're whoever you are in the middle of that fire. This is who I am, who I've been my whole career. I walk out the other side, and everybody who works with and for me gets behind me because they know we're all walking out, and we do it as a team. And I've been doing that for 40 years. That's what this is. It's another fire. How I'm reacting is embracing the challenge of the times, making adjustments, accepting where we're at right now. And I'm not worrying about tomorrow. I'm going to worry about right now with you.
Well, there you have it, folks. Eric Yaverbaum, the guy who keeps getting up off the mat.
That's right. Right. Amen. That's right.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us in Muscle Nation. I applaud you. I'm so happy that you're still with us. And
likewise.
Yeah. And, I really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us today.
Now, I'm honored that you would even want to talk to me.
All right. Well, folks, if you're here, you're one of us. Go out there, hit the gym, be healthy.